Okay, hello everybody. Today I'm bringing to you guys a short review of the CZ75 Compact PCR. So that's the Česká Zbrojovka 75. This is a pretty popular gun. It's been used in many different militaries across the planet and police forces specifically. This gun, well, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but this is the packaging that the gun comes in. When you get the gun, it comes in a little black plastic box. I think it's pretty sturdy. I've had this gun since 2013, and it's been a really good shooter and a fun gun to use. But when I picked it up from a dealer in Utah, this is the case it came in. I'll go ahead and open it on video. So you'll notice when I open this that where I have the lock, there's actually supposed to be a secondary magazine. This gun usually has a magazine capacity of 14 rounds, and I just moved to California, so in California you have to have 10 rounds or less in your magazine. So that forced me to purchase an aftermarket magazine, and I had to leave my other magazines with my father out in Utah. So, but the gun does come with a regular lock that goes through the barrel, and it comes with some cleaning tools, a little ramrod for using patches, and it does come with a little brush as well, a little barrel brush. So let's go ahead and get into the gun a little bit. So this is the CZ75 Compact. So you can see that this, like I said, this is the PCR model, but the side of it does say CZ75 D Compact. And the D stands for decocker. You can see right here there's a decocker. Now, I keep this gun loaded. I normally do not keep this in the carrying case that I just showed. I normally keep this gun in a locked hand safe underneath my bed, and this, let's see if I can get this to focus a little bit better. So you can see that'll give me a chance to kind of safety check this on camera, but I wanted to show something before we cleared it. If you see right here up on top, you can see that little black dot that little silvery dot. That little piece of metal is actually the loaded barrel indicator, and that's kind of how you can, I mean, obviously you're going to treat all guns if they're loaded, but this is a good way for you to check, especially if you're at the range or if you carry this gun. You can always double check right here to see if it's loaded. It does kind of stick out from the metal. We're going to go ahead and clear it on camera as well. So this button right here is the slide release. It's really nice when you're shooting because you can go ahead and just reach this very easily, and the magazine slides right out. So you just have full metal jackets in there right now, and we'll go ahead and actually clear the round that's in the chamber. Let's get that out of here. So hopefully this is focusing well. Let me see if I can get it to focus a little bit better. So you can see that this pistol has a hammer. So the CZ75 line of pistols are all hammer fired. So they do not use a striker like some of the more conventional designs, like Glocks or, I don't know, any of the M&P line, the Shield. All those guns use striker firer methods. So this gun actually uses a traditional hammer. You can see right here. They got cycled back as I slid the slide. And that's kind of important. That's what I wanted to show you next was because this is a D model, that means it has a decocker. So this lever right here is the decocker. And you can see that it normally has a little bit of play, kind of like a trigger usually has. You know, it'll have a little bit of play and it'll tighten up. So just like that, this decocker has a little play, but when you push it down, you'll get to a certain point right about here. You just keep pushing and it'll click and decock. And you can see that the trigger jumps forward when you do that. So that takes it from a single action mode, which would be like you pull the trigger that little bit and the gun fires, right? Because the hammer was back. but now it's in like a double action mode. But this double action mode, if you can see this hammer right here, it's a little bit drawn back from the pistol, and that's something I found that the decocker does not fully decock it. Like if you can see inside here, I don't know if you can see, I'll cock it back so you can see, that actually hits the firing pin, this little knob in the middle there, and that's how the hammer will initiate firing the gun. And it doesn't actually sit on there, right? So if you actually want to keep it at a full double action ready, you can actually drop the hammer by pulling the trigger and dropping all the way down. And so that's similar to what you'd find maybe after firing the last round in your gun, or like right after firing the last round. If you tried another shot, it would just do a click, right? And then you'd have it drawn down. And you can see now that the barrel indicator is empty. So that's kind of an overview of that. The decocker right here, I actually really like it. When I first was investigating this gun, I had been using a Sig Sauer SP2022. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that gun, but it's a polymer Sig Sauer that's kind of a budget model. That was the first gun I purchased. And you know, it was kind of a similar design. It had, in the sense that it was a hammer-fired double action with the decocker. But I just I did not really enjoy shooting that gun. It wasn't as accurate as I wanted it to be. I didn't like the ergonomics, and I was just kind of getting tired of it. I liked the fact that it was hammer fired. I liked that it was double action fireable, but I did not really like the fact that it just didn't feel right in my hands. And the decocker on the SIGs is like right here, I think, if I remember right. And it's just kind of a weird button to press down. I didn't really enjoy it. And when I first got this gun, I was used to that, right? I was used to the Sig Sauer design. And so I was used to just reaching right here. But then this one has it back here. And the first time you pick up this gun, I think you'll be kind of surprised. You really do have to reach back to get to it. But that in turn gives you a lot of leverage to push down on it. So when you're decocking it, you really kind of need that leverage in order to do it easily. So you can also see this, because it has a hammer, it's really nice that it has this beaver tail, similar to like the 1911s or many other pistol designs. Like it'll have a nice beaver tail. And this gun is basically a chopped down version, size-wise, of the original CZ75. If you guys are familiar with the regular CZ75, the slide actually extends out another maybe inch or so, depending on the model that you get. And this also, the bottom part where how long the grip is actually a little bit longer on the CZ75s, the full size. But I found that this pistol is perfect for my hand. If you can see where my hand holds it, my pinky, like if I have the magazine in, right, it sits right there. That's exactly perfect for me. And this little groove right here fits my finger exactly. And my finger can fit perfectly on the trigger. So I found that this fits really good for my hold. And I really enjoy that. So yeah, so that's kind of an overview of the operation, at least. I'll put that down. So let's go over a little bit more about just the style of the gun. So one of the things you'll notice is that this has serrations up here on the front and here on the back. I don't believe that the regular CZ75 Compact has that, but I could be mistaken. I might have to check in on that. But these serrations are really nice. I prefer to rack the slide like this from the back, but I guess some people like to do it like this as well, or like to do it like this as well. So those are kind of two different styles of racking the slide. This gun is available with different sights, and these are removable, and you could replace them with custom sights. If you look down the sight, I don't know how well this will come in, but you can see that the actual sight posts have little white dots on them. They're actually kind of a whitish yellow if you get really in there and you look closely. Kind of a whitish yellow color. And I really like them. You can also get this gun with tritium sights, which will be a little bit photoluminescent, like you can see them in the dark and stuff. But those, it's something like $100 upgrade, and that's really not worth it for me, especially when I don't use these at night. I mean, I guess in the case of like a home invasion I might need to, but I don't think that's, yeah. it wasn't a big buying point for me when I first got this gun. So yeah, that wasn't a huge buying point for me with this gun, was, on this gun, to have like night sights. I mainly got this gun because after having shot some other guns, I went and shot the XD, Springfield XD, and I really like the Springfield XD actually. I would consider getting one, especially at the price point. But after shooting the XD, shooting the SIG, my dad has an old Browning. It's not a high power, but it's kind of like something that they did for like 2 years in the 90s, this one 9mm pistol. I think it's called a BDL. But after shooting a couple other 9mm, when I finally got this one in my hands, I went to a store, right? I went to a shop called Gunny's in Utah, and they have just the regular compact model of this. And when after I held it, I was like, wow, this is a really nice gun, And I went back and started doing some research online and found that there are several models of CZ75s, and I was particularly drawn to this model. So this model is the PCR, like I said, and that stands for like Police Czech Republic, I think. Yeah. So this is their police model that they use in the Czech Republic. And these are made in the Czech Republic. They're imported through CZ USA. So this has the Kansas City, Kansas. But these are made in the Czech Republic. And so far, it's been a really good shooter. Okay, we can actually show that. If you can see, I wonder if this thing will zoom. Or, see, maybe we can, if you can see right there, made in Czech Republic. Yeah, there we go. Kind of bad. My camera's not too good, but so let's see what happens. Perfect. But yeah, so that's kind of the idea with this pistol. If you see on top, it actually has lines that are actually, I don't know, I guess you could say milled into the steel. And these lines are sun lines, I think they call them. So when you're looking down the sight, if there's sun, this will help do some help to keep this from reflecting into your eyes. So if this was like a flat surface and the sun was over here, you could imagine that the light would reflect back at you. But by having these little grooves, some of it kind of gets reflected down into the grooves, and it keeps a lot of the light glare from shining up in your eyes when you're trying to look down the sights. So again, I had looked at the compact model, right, and I really like the compact idea. I do like full-size handguns as well, but I really wanted something that I could potentially concealed carry, because I do have a Utah concealed carry permit. And this pistol really kind of fit the budget. I will say that it is a bit heavier than a subcompact or a similar compact that is a polymer frame pistol. But this does have a distinct advantage over the CZ75 compact normal, because this uses an aluminum frame. So all this right here that my finger's touching, all of this is aluminum right here. All this part. And that leads to it having a lighter weight than the regular CZ75 compact. The slide, of course, is still steel, and the barrel, of course, is steel. It actually does have a stainless barrel, if you can see, which is also great. One of the things that some people don't like about the CZ75, but it's also, with the standard one, but I have never had a problem with, is it does have a plastic guide rod, if you can see that. They do sell metal guide rods to replace that with, but I've never had a problem with it. And from what I've read on CZ forums, on Reddit, most people do not have any problems with the guide rod. But it is a plastic guide rod, so something to be aware of. But yeah, I have concealed carried this gun. I wouldn't say I've concealed carried a lot, maybe like, I don't know, not very often. But when I have concealed carried it, it's been fine. I think that my holster was a little bit inconvenient. You probably want a holster that really keeps this nice and tucked in, a really sturdy holster, one that maybe has double loops for your belt, so you can really keep it close to your body. It actually is not too heavy, but you may feel it heavier than some of the polymer guns that you're used to. But it is a very, very good gun. I have used this gun. I've probably taken it out to shoot maybe 25 times. You know, and that's saying something. I mean, I'm not an avid shooter. I don't go to the gun range every week, and I don't have a membership, but I do get to go out, you know, several times a year. And every time I come to this gun, I'm amazed at how good of a shooter it is. And especially, I mean, compared to some of the other guns I've shot, I've actually found that I'm very accurate with a 1911, and I think maybe it's this slim profile and the beaver tail and just the kind of the grip angle that you get on these type of guns that lends me to do well with that type of a gun. I've found that I'm still accurate with other pistols, but I think that this gun has helped me get the sight picture tied to my aiming style a lot better than maybe I've tried like a Glock, and I have a little bit harder time visualizing in my mind the sight picture for those guns. So it's not a big deal, but it's just something that I've thought about. Let's see, what else is there that's good about this that we want to talk about? So it does come with rubber grips initially, and I like the rubber grips. They feel really good. They're sturdy. They give you plenty of grip. But there are some other brands of custom grips that really make these guns look slick. I might post some pictures up in the video a little bit later. I know VZ Grips, it's called, does a whole line of CZ75 custom grips that are just beautiful. But they're a little bit expensive. I haven't decided to go out and get one because they run about $75. And this gun, I think I purchased it for about $575, which I think was a good deal. I bought it brand new from a dealer, and so it's kind of a, I don't know, I think for a brand new firearm of this caliber, it was well worth it, and I have zero regrets. You know, that Sig Sauer that I bought, I actually went and sold that because it was not right for me. I really, it took me about 2 or 3 months to realize that I wanted a different pistol, and I've had no complaints since getting this. So I would highly recommend it to anyone who's looking for a pistol. And I've actually recommended it quite a few times on Reddit. You know, when somebody gets on there and says, hey, I want to buy 9mm, what kind of pistol do you recommend? I say, look, try the CZ75. You know, if you're buying a new pistol, try the CZ75, especially the compact one. I really like the compact one. Just try it. You know, add it to your list. Maybe you want a polymer gun. Maybe you want to try some M&Ps, or you want to try a Glock, or you want to try any other flavor of 9mm. But I'd say at least give the CZ75 a chance. Maybe I can go, I think I might have some targets, so I'll go see if I got some targets that we can look at of how well this shoots. So that's it for right now. Alright, so I went and checked. I don't have any of my targets from the range, but I might upload a video of this actually shooting a little bit later. But this is mainly I wanted to give you an overview of the gun itself. Actually, one thing I do want to talk about before we end this video is just the takedown. Takedown is very simple. If you can see this right here, this little button is basically connected to this piece over here. This is just this pin goes through the gun right here. So the way you take this gun apart, if you can see on here, there's 2 little notches. There's a notch right there and a notch up there on the slide. So these 2 notches will line up. Something I've found that's cool is if you cock back the gun and you decock and you pull the slide forward so it butts up against where the hammer is, those will line up perfectly. So you line those up, and then you'll want to push on this fairly hard. You can see that they push down, and that allows this to come right out, right? So this is the pin that keeps it together. So once that's out, this can slide right off. You can see the frame down inside. That's all aluminum. If you look right here, you can kind of see the more bare aluminum. This is actually hard hard anodized aluminum right here, but inside they don't actually do the process on it, but you can see it right there, and you can see the whole action of the pistol. And you can see the slide right here. It's very, you know, generic. This is just like any other 9mm these days. It has your guide rod, spring, come apart, and the barrel just lifts right out. I believe this is a 3.8-inch barrel. I need to double check that maybe. If I'm wrong, I'll leave an annotation. But yeah, very simple takedown. If you see, I can take it down, put it back together very fast. See, this actually, one thing that's interesting actually is that the guides for this gun are kind of inverted from what you're used to. I mean, most people are used to the guides coming up and sticking out to the side, right? So they come up and stick out, and then this guy would receive it on the inside. This is actually inverted. The slide has the guide inside of it, and this actually has the part that sticks out and connects to it. So if you see right here, they actually slide together like this. So it's kind of like a reversed female to male. Whereas like if you're used to a polymer gun, they all kind of have the, you know, the short little slides that fit into the slides or the rails on the slide. So, and then putting it back together, it's the same thing. You just line up those two things, put the pin in, push it in, makes a click, and you are good to go. Oh, and if you want to see, we can do a couple dry fires as well. So this would be like a single action dry fire right here. It's a very crisp trigger. I have had no problems with the trigger. I've been very accurate with it. The double action trigger is quite heavy. I think it's like 8 or 9 pounds. I haven't actually measured it myself, but you got to heft it a little bit. And this mode right here, this decock mode, is somewhere in between, maybe around 6 pounds, 7 pounds. But you can see that there's more play in the trigger. Right here, the double action, there's not a lot of play. Decocked, there is a little bit of play. Right? And then fully single action cocked, there's, you know, there's a little bit of play, but it's a lot lighter trigger, maybe 2 or 3 pounds, somewhere in there, maybe 4 pounds, I don't know. I have to actually measure it. But it's a great shooter. And I highly recommend it. If you're looking into a 9mm, give this gun a shot, especially if you like steel framed and hammer fired pistols. One thing I want to talk about actually before we finish is that this gun has been incredibly reliable for me. I have not actually ever had misfire, and I don't think I've ever even actually had a jam. And I've put probably, I don't know, 600 rounds through it, and I've never had a misfire jam. I've even shot some reloads. One thing I did notice with the reloads that I shot, again, this is, I mean, my testing, right? These are my own personal reloads. They shot just fine. They seemed accurate enough. But I think the powder I was using did not burn fast enough because I was getting a lot of dirty, my barrel was very dirty, my action was very dirty. There's a lot of soot and residue. So I didn't see any signs of case bulge or any type of things that would lead me to believe I was overpressured, but I might need to look up a better formula for what I was using. I was using some Winchester Auto Comp, which a friend recommended to me, but we'll have to see in the future which way I want to go with the reloading. I do have a lot of supplies. I might do some videos on reloading in the future. But for now, let's just leave it with that. You know, 100% reliable from what I've seen. And obviously 100%, that's, you know, hyperbolic because every gun's going to have some failures and you need to learn how to deal with them. But this has been a very consistent gun for me, and I recommend it to anybody. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you liked it. Thanks.